The night sky was calm and clear. Stars glittered like cold diamonds above the Earth. On the International Space Station, Commander Elias Ross floated in silence. His breath was slow, controlled, but his eyes were wide with fear. He stared through the observation window at a strange, massive shadow moving beyond the edge of the planet. It was no asteroid. It was no satellite. It moved with purpose. It was alive. "Mission Control," Elias whispered into his headset. His voice trembled. "We have an object. It's huge. It's dark. It's not one of ours." The radio hissed with static. No answer. Elias tried again, louder this time. "Mission Control, respond. I repeat, unidentified object near our orbit." The static grew worse. Then his headset went completely silent. His heart pounded so hard he could feel it in his throat. Lights in the station flickered, then died. For a few seconds, there was nothing but darkness and the faint hum of emergency systems. A low, deep vibration traveled through the station walls. Elias floated to a window and stared into the void. The shadow had moved closer. It was now right, above the Earth, and for the first time he saw its true shape. A massive alien ship, sleek and sharp like a blade, stretching for miles. It blocked out the stars completely. Elias reached for the emergency beacon, his fingers shaking. Before he could press it, a blinding light filled the station. His headset crackled one final time with a single cold word in a language he could not understand. Then everything went black. On Earth, thousands of miles below, the city of New York experienced a strange event at the exact same moment. Power grids failed without warning, streetlights went out, cell phones died, air traffic control lost contact. With every plane in the sky for 30 full seconds. When the lights came back, dozens of planes had vanished completely, as if they had never existed. Panic began to spread, but the governments of the world kept silent. Officials claimed it was a simple technical malfunction. They lied. Captain Mara Vega sat in a small military intelligence office buried deep beneath Washington, D.C. She had been awake for 30 hours straight, staring at data streams and intercepted signals. She was one of the few who knew the truth. Something was in Earth's orbit, and it was hiding from every telescope and satellite. Mara slammed her fist on the table. "This isn't a glitch," she said to her superior officer, General Harlan. "Look at the pattern. These blackouts are coordinated. Someone, or something, is cutting our systems on purpose." General Harlan frowned, rubbing his tired eyes. "Even if you're right, Captain, we have no proof, no visual confirmation. If we go public now, we'll cause mass panic." Mara leaned forward, her voice sharp and urgent. "Sir, we don't have time to worry about panic. The ISS lost all contact 30 minutes ago. We have to assume they're already here." The general's face hardened. "Enough, Vega, drop it, that's an order." Mara clenched her jaw. She knew what this meant. The government was going to cover it up, just like they always did. By the time they acted, it would be too late. Outside, the world carried on, unaware of the danger above. Children played in parks. Lovers walked under the moonlight. No one knew an alien invasion had already begun. Far above, the massive ship released dozens of smaller craft, each shaped like a black arrowhead. They moved silently, invisible to radar, spreading across the planet. Their mission was simple: infiltrate and disable Earth's defenses before anyone realized what was happening. In a remote desert in Nevada, a secret military radar facility went offline. A single guard stood outside the building smoking a cigarette. He looked up at the clear sky and saw nothing. A second later, a dark shape moved behind him. There was no sound, no scream. The guard was simply gone. The infiltration had begun. Mara left the underground base and walked quickly through the cold night air. Her mind raced. If she obeyed orders, humanity would fall without ever firing a shot. She pulled out her secure tablet and began sending encrypted messages to people she trusted. A handful of hackers, soldiers, and analysts who had seen the same patterns she had. She gave them one simple order: prepare to fight back. She barely finished typing when her car alarm went off. Mara froze. She scanned the parking lot. Empty. The hair on her neck rose. She backed away slowly. Then, out of the shadows, a small hovering drone appeared. It was sleek, black, and completely alien. Mara drew her sidearm and fired. The bullet sparked harmlessly against the drone's surface. The drone emitted a high-pitched hum, and suddenly her phone, watch, and tablet all went dead. She ran for cover as the drone fired a beam of blinding blue energy, melting the concrete where she had just been standing. 2 black SUVs screeched into the lot. Men in tactical gear jumped out, guns blazing. The drone spun in midair and darted away into the darkness. One of the soldiers shouted, "Captain Vega, are you hurt?" Mara shook her head, her chest heaving. "I'm fine. That thing wasn't human. It was scouting me." The soldier's eyes were wide. "What do we do now?" Mara's voice was cold and determined. "We don't wait for orders. We fight." Meanwhile, across the ocean, in a quiet fishing village on the coast of Japan, a young boy named Hiro stood on the beach at dawn. He watched the waves and saw something strange floating far out at sea. It was a black, triangular craft, partially submerged. Hiro ran to get his father, but when they returned, the object was gone. Only a perfect circle of boiling water remained. The Dominion was testing Earth's oceans now. Back in Washington, Mara gathered her small team in a hidden bunker. There were only 6 of them, but they were the first resistance fighters against the coming invasion. "This is no random attack," Mara said, pointing to a holographic map of the Earth. Red dots appeared on every continent. "These are confirmed. Blackout zones, each one lines up with our defense networks. They're taking out our weapons before we can even use them." A hacker named Rena spoke up nervously. Why? Why not just nuke us from orbit? They obviously have the tech to do it." Kirix, the alien prisoner Mara had captured earlier that night, raised his head. His skin shimmered like silver under the dim light. His voice was deep and strange, but clear. "Because the Dominion does not destroy. The Dominion enslaves." The room went silent. Mara glared at the alien. "Explain." Kirix tilted his head. "Your species is different, violent, unpredictable, dangerous. The Dominion sees you as a threat to galactic order. They will not simply kill you, they will break you. They will turn your leaders into servants, your cities into factories, your children into weapons," Rena whispered, horrified. "Weapons," Kirix nodded. "Human minds are adaptable, more so than any species the Dominion has conquered. You will be remade to serve them, unless you resist now." Mara's fists clenched. "We'll never serve them." The alien's strange eyes met hers. Every other world said the same, and now those worlds are silent. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. A live feed appeared on the screen, showing burning streets in London, Tokyo, and Rio de Janeiro. Small black craft swooped low over the cities, disabling vehicles and communications. People ran in terror. Soldiers fired desperately, but their weapons were useless. General Harlan's voice came over the emergency channel. "All units, this is not a drill. Global defense is compromised. The enemy is inside our borders. Repeat, the enemy is here." Mara stared at the feed, her heart pounding. She'd been right all along. The invasion had begun, and humanity was losing without even knowing what they were fighting. She turned to her team. "Listen to me. We can't stop them with brute force, not yet. We have to think like them. We have to disrupt their systems the way they've disrupted ours." Rena's hands flew over her keyboard. "I might be able to hijack one of their signals, but I need more time." "You have 1 hour," Mara said. "After that, they'll have total control of our skies." As the team worked, Mara slipped into a side room and stared at an old photo taped to the wall. It was her family, smiling on a beach vacation years ago. She remembered her father's words. Humans don't bow to anyone. We make our own way. Her resolve hardened. She returned to the group. We'll show them what it means to fight humans. They think we're predictable. They think we'll surrender like every other species. They're wrong. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died. A deep hum filled the bunker. Kerix's eyes widened in terror. They've found us. The ceiling above them cracked as something massive slammed into the ground outside. The walls shook. Dust rained down. Mara grabbed her rifle. "Everyone! Move! Emergency exit now!" They scrambled through a narrow tunnel as the main room exploded behind them. When they emerged on the surface, they saw a terrifying sight. Hovering above the ruins of the bunker was a massive alien walker, its legs like black spears, its body bristling with weapons. Smaller drones swarmed around it like hornets. Rena screamed. "What do we do?" Mara raised her rifle and fired, even though she knew it was hopeless. "We run, we live, we fight another day." As they fled into the forest, Mara looked back at the burning wreckage. She knew the truth now. This wasn't just an invasion. It was a purge, and unless humanity united, Earth would fall within days. She swore to herself, her voice a cold whisper. "We'll rewrite the rules of this war, even if it kills us." High above, in the shadow of the alien fleet, a Dominion. Commander watched the chaos unfold on a glowing screen. "Humans are resisting," one subordinate reported nervously. The commander's mouth curled into something like a smile. "Let them. The more they fight, the sweeter their submission will be." But deep inside, a small seed of doubt had begun to grow. These humans were already behaving differently than any species they had ever conquered. They were unpredictable. They were dangerous. For the first time, the Dominion felt fear. And on Earth, Mara Vega prepared for the battle to come. She didn't know how they would win, only that they must, because humans don't obey rules. Humans rewrite them. The silent invasion was over. The real war had just begun. Smoke drifted above the ruins of the secret bunker where Captain Mara Vega's team had barely escaped. The night was cold, but the heat from the fires burned hot against their skin as they crouched in the dark forest. Somewhere beyond the trees, alien drones scanned the area, their red eyes sweeping back and forth like hunting animals. Mara breathed slowly, forcing herself to stay calm. Panic would get them killed. She turned to her small team. Rena clutched. Her portable computer, knuckles white. Two soldiers, Grant and Silva, gripped their rifles, eyes wide with fear. Kerix, the alien prisoner, crouched silently, his silver skin glowing faintly in the moonlight. "We need to move," Mara whispered. "If those drones find us, we're dead." Grant shook his head. "Captain, where are we even going? We have no base, no backup, nothing." Mara's jaw tightened. "We go to the city, Washington. We get inside their network and strike back." Rena hesitated. "Captain, that's suicide. They'll be expecting us." "They won't expect us to hit them this fast," Mara said firmly. "Right now, they think they broke us. That's our only advantage." A low, mechanical hum filled the air. Red lights began cutting through the trees. The drones had found their trail. "Run!" Mara shouted. The team sprinted through the forest. Branches whipped at their faces. The sound of the drones grew louder and louder until it felt like the machines were right behind them. A beam of blue light seared the ground just inches from Mara's boots. She dove behind a fallen tree and fired blindly into the darkness. Her rifle rounds sparked uselessly against the drone's black armor. Kerix stopped suddenly, his strange voice sharp. "This way!" He slashed his clawed hand through a tree trunk, revealing a narrow cave hidden behind the rocks. The team scrambled. Inside, just as a wave of energy scorched the entrance, The heat was so intense it blistered the rocks. They crouched in the darkness, breathing hard. Outside, the drones hovered, scanning. Then, slowly, the sound faded as the machines moved on. Rena wiped sweat from her brow. "We're alive for now." Mara turned to Kyrix, her voice cold. "Why help us? You could have let them take us." The alien tilted his head. "Because if you die now, the Dominion wins too easily. I need you to fight. I need you to survive long enough to prove them wrong." Mara did not trust him, but she nodded. "Then you better start talking. How many of those things are out there?" Kyrix's expression darkened. "The drones are nothing. They are scouts. The true army arrives at dawn," Grant cursed under his breath. "An army? We can't fight an army." Mara's eyes burned with determination. "We don't fight them head-on. We strike where they don't expect. Rena, can you still access the enemy's signal like you said?" Rena nodded shakily. "If I can reach a Dominion relay point, yes. I can hijack their communications for a few minutes, maybe warn the rest of the world." "Good," Mara said. "Then that's our mission. We warn Earth, whatever it takes." As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, chaos erupted across the planet. In London, black triangular ships descended over the Thames River. They emitted a strange pulse that shut down every electronic device in the city. Cars stopped in the streets. Planes fell from the sky. Soldiers fired missiles, but the weapons froze mid-flight, their systems disabled. The alien ships responded with cold precision, vaporizing entire blocks of buildings in silent blue flashes. In Tokyo, drones swarmed over rooftops, hunting civilians like animals. People screamed and fled, but the drones were faster. Within hours, the city was silent, except for the hum of alien machinery. In Rio de Janeiro, resistance fighters managed to take down one small craft using improvised explosives. Their victory lasted less than a minute before a massive walker emerged from the ocean and unleashed a storm of energy blasts, leveling everything in its path. The Dominion's invasion was no longer silent. It was open war. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond. Military leaders shouted conflicting orders. World leaders demanded answers that no one could give. The alien technology was beyond anything humans had ever faced. In the Oval Office, President Harrison slammed his fist on the desk. "We need a plan. I don't care what it takes. We cannot lose Earth." General Harlan stood stiffly at attention. "Mr. President, our defenses are failing. We have one chance left, a nuclear strike." The president's face went pale. "On our own cities? Better our cities than our species," Harlan said grimly. Before Harrison could respond, the room's lights flickered. A holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It was a Dominion commander, tall and alien, with a face like polished stone. Its voice was cold and precise. "People of Earth," it said, "you are now subjects of the Dominion. Surrender your weapons and your leaders. Failure to comply will result in total eradication." The image vanished. The president turned to Harlan. "Get me every surviving commander. We fight to the last man." Mara's team reached the edge of Washington just as the alien fleet appeared overhead. Black triangular ships filled the sky, blotting out the sun. The city below was chaos. Civilians ran in every direction. Police and soldiers tried to form defensive lines, but their vehicles were useless. Mara crouched behind a burned-out car, scanning the streets. "Rena, where's the relay point?" 2 blocks east," Rena said, tapping on her tablet. "It's disguised as a government communications tower," Grant muttered. "Disguised? Like we wouldn't notice a giant alien antenna in our backyard?" "They built it using our own tech," Rena replied. "Most people wouldn't even recognize it." Silva fired a burst of rifle rounds at a passing drone. "We need to move now!" They sprinted through the streets, weaving between panicked civilians. Above them, alien ships fired precision strikes, destroying key buildings while leaving others untouched. It was clear they were not here to destroy the city outright. They were here to control it. As they neared the relay point, a massive walker dropped from the sky. Its legs crushed parked cars as it landed with a deafening crash. Mara shouted, "Take cover!" The walker unleashed a wave of energy that knocked everyone to the ground. Mara's ears rang as she crawled behind a pile of rubble. "We can't." "Fight that thing," Grant yelled. "We don't have to," Mara shouted back. "Rena, get to the tower. The rest of us will distract it." Rena hesitated. "Captain, I can't just—" "Go!" Mara barked. Rena ran for the tower as Grant and Silva opened fire on the walker. Their bullets did nothing, but they drew its attention. The massive machine turned and fired at them, blowing apart entire sections of the street. Mara spotted a fallen missile launcher lying in the debris. She sprinted toward it, grabbed it, and fired at the walker's leg joint. The explosion rocked the machine, causing it to stumble slightly. "That worked," Silva shouted. "Do it again." "I only had one shot," Mara said grimly. Meanwhile, Rena reached the tower. She plugged her tablet into a control panel and began typing furiously. The alien code was complex, almost alive, but Rena's skills were unmatched. Inside the tower, a Dominion technician noticed the intrusion. It hissed in alarm and sent a warning signal. "Captain!" Rena shouted over the comms. "They know I'm here. I need more time." "You'll get it," Mara said. "Hold on." The walker roared and unleashed a barrage of energy blasts. Grant was hit and thrown backward, his body limp. Silva screamed his name, but kept firing. Mara's heart twisted, but she forced herself to focus. She grabbed a bundle of C4 explosives from her pack and sprinted toward the walker. The machine's sensors locked onto her, charging for a final strike. "Come on, you monster," Mara growled. At the last second, she dove under the walker's body and slapped the C4 onto its central core. She rolled away and detonated it. The explosion tore through the machine's underside. The walker collapsed with a deafening crash, its legs twitching before going still. Silva whooped in triumph, then dropped to his knees beside Grant's motionless body. "Captain, I'm in," Rena shouted. "Sending the signal now." Across the world, every screen flickered. Instead of Dominion threats, Mara's face appeared, battered and bloodied. "This is Captain Mara Vega of the Human Defense Network," she said. "The enemy is here. They want our planet, our people, our future. Do not surrender. Fight. Fight any way you can. Humanity has one rule now: survive." In villages, towns, and cities, people watched in shock. For the first time since the invasion began, they heard a human voice defying the Dominion. In the Dominion command ship, the alien commander watched Mara's broadcast. Its stone-like face twisted in anger. "Send the purge signal," it hissed. "Erase them all." Rena's equipment began to smoke. "Captain, they're counter-attacking the signal. I can't hold it. Pull out," Mara ordered. "We've done enough." As they fled the tower, a massive explosion erupted behind them. The relay point was gone, destroyed by the Dominion to prevent further hacking. Silva carried Grant's body, tears streaming down her face. Mara placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll honor him later. Right now, we keep moving." They escaped into the subway tunnels, just as alien forces swarmed the streets above. In the darkness, Kirik spoke softly. "You have done what no other species has ever done. You struck back." Mara glared at him. "We're just getting started." Kirik's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "Then you must know the truth. This is not an invasion. It is a purge. They will not stop until every human is either dead or enslaved. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed to exist freely." Mara's stomach turned cold. "Why us?" "Because you are chaos," Kirik said. "Chaos cannot be controlled, and chaos spreads." Mara clenched her fists. "Then we'll spread it to every corner of their empire." Above ground, Dominion ships formed a massive formation. For the first time, the full size of the fleet became clear. Hundreds of ships stretched across the sky, a dark curtain over the world. From orbit, the Dominion commander sent a final message to all humans. "This is your only warning. Kneel before the Dominion or burn." Mara stared up at the ceiling of the tunnel, her voice a low growl. "Let them come. We don't kneel. We fight." The team moved deeper into the tunnels, disappearing into the darkness. The first strike was over. Humanity had lost cities, soldiers, and hope. But for the first time they had also drawn blood. The war had only just begun. The world had fallen silent. Cities once filled with laughter and life now echoed with fear. Alien ships hovered above major capitals like dark clouds, their black triangular hulls blotting out the sun. Streets were filled with burned-out cars, destroyed buildings, and terrified survivors hiding wherever they could. Across the globe, governments were collapsing. Some leaders had vanished, taken by the Dominion to be used as puppets. Others had secretly surrendered, believing submission was the only way to save their people. But surrender would not save anyone. Beneath the ruined streets of Washington, D.C., Captain Mara Vega's team huddled in the dim light of a subway tunnel. Dust drifted from the cracked ceiling above them as distant explosions shook the ground. The small group was exhausted, battered, and grieving. Grant's body lay wrapped in a tarp, a silent reminder of the cost of their fight. Silva sat beside him, her face streaked with dirt and tears. She clutched his dog tags tightly in her hand. Rena leaned against the tunnel wall, her fingers trembling as she worked to repair her hacked tablet. Even Kirix, the alien defector, sat quietly, his silver skin dulled and scratched. Mara stood at the center, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. "We made the world hear us," she said. "The Dominion knows we will not kneel. Now, we have to take the next step." Rena looked up, her eyes wide. "Next step? Captain, we barely survived the last one. The Dominion's fleet is massive. Their tech is unstoppable. We can't win." Mara knelt in front of her, speaking firmly. "We don't have to win today. We only have to fight. If we show the world that the Dominion can bleed, others will rise with us. This isn't just about surviving. It's about resisting." Kirix's strange voice broke the silence. "You do not understand the scale of their power. The Dominion spans hundreds of star systems. They have crushed thousands of worlds. None have ever defied them and lived." Mara glared at him. "Then Earth will be the first." Kirix tilted his head, his alien eyes unblinking. "Why? Why do you fight when every logical outcome ends in your destruction?" Mara's voice was ice. "Because we're human. Logic doesn't rule us. Freedom does." Before Kirix could respond, a deep rumble shook the tunnel. Dust rained down. Silva jumped to her feet. "What was that?" Rena checked her tablet. "Not an airstrike. This came from underground." The rumble came again, louder this time. Then a section of the tunnel wall crumbled, revealing a group of armed men and women. They were dirty, tired, and clearly desperate, but their eyes burned with determination. Their leader, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, stepped forward. He held up his rifle, but not in a threatening way. "Captain Vega, we heard your broadcast. We've been fighting in the shadows, waiting for someone to lead us." Mara's heart pounded. For the first time, she felt a spark of hope. "Who are you?" "Call us what you want," the man said. "We're the ones who refuse to surrender." Mara nodded. "Then you're the beginning of something bigger. You're the Defenders." The man grinned. "Defenders it is." Over the next hours, more survivors trickled in. Soldiers, hackers, engineers, and civilians who had seen Mara's broadcast and decided to fight. Some carried scavenged weapons, others brought food, water, and medical supplies. Slowly, the subway tunnels transformed into a makeshift base. Mara walked among them, memorizing every face. These were the first seeds of a true resistance, but seeds alone would not stop the Dominion. She gathered her team and the new recruits around a rough map spread across a broken table. Rena pointed to several marked locations. "These are Dominion relay towers. They control communications, power grids, and even some of our military tech. If we take them out, we can disrupt their hold over major cities." Silva frowned. There are too many for us to hit all at once." "Then we don't," Mara said. "We strike one, make it hurt, and then disappear before they can retaliate. Hit and run. Guerrilla warfare." The scarred man nodded. "It's risky, but it's all we've got." Kirix studied the map silently. Finally, he spoke. "If you truly intend to challenge the Dominion, you must understand their strategy. They will not just fight you in the open. They will use fear, propaganda, lies. They will turn humans against each other before you even realize it." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Then we stay ahead of them. We show the world the truth before their lies take root." As if on cue, every screen in the tunnel flickered to life. A chilling image appeared, the Dominion commander who had threatened Earth before. His voice echoed through the tunnels. "Humans," he said coldly, "your defiance has been noted. Your resistance is futile. Surrender now and live as subjects of the Dominion. Continue to fight, and your species will be erased." The image shifted to scenes of burning cities and weeping civilians, followed by Dominion troops delivering food and supplies to those who had surrendered. The message was clear. Submission meant safety. Rebellion meant annihilation. "The scarred," man snarled. "They're trying to turn our own people against us." Mara stepped forward, her voice cutting through the fear. "We will not be divided. They want us to believe resistance is hopeless. We'll prove them wrong." She turned to Rena. "Hijack their signal again. Show the world what they're really doing." Rena's fingers flew over her keyboard. The Dominion feed vanished, replaced by live footage of captured humans being loaded onto alien transports in chains. Gasps filled the room as the truth was revealed. Mara spoke into the camera. "This is the Dominion's promise of safety, enslavement. If you surrender, this is your future. But if we fight, we have a chance to build something better. Join us. Together, we can take back our world." Across the globe, millions watched. In hidden shelters, bombed-out cities, and refugee camps, people felt a flicker of hope. That night, Mara led her first strike as the leader of the Defenders. Their target was a Dominion relay tower on the outskirts of the city. The team moved through the dark streets like shadows. Above them, alien patrol drones glided silently. Every step was a gamble. Silver whispered, "We have maybe 10 minutes before they detect us." "Then we'll only need 5, Mara replied. They reached the base of the tower. It was a strange hybrid of human and alien technology, wires and glowing panels pulsing like veins. Dominion soldiers, tall and insect-like, guarded the perimeter. Grant's death flashed through Mara's mind. Her grip tightened on her rifle. "Positions," she ordered. The defenders struck fast and hard. Explosions lit the night as homemade grenades ripped through enemy lines. Human rifles barked, dropping alien soldiers one by one. The air filled with smoke, fire, and screams. Rena sprinted to the tower's control panel, working feverishly to overload its systems. "Almost there," she shouted. "Cover me!" Mara gunned down a soldier that nearly reached Rena. "Hurry! We're out of time." Suddenly, a massive shadow fell over the battlefield. A Dominion walker descended from the sky, its legs slamming into the ground with bone-shaking force. Silver yelled, "Incoming!" The walker's weapons powered up, glowing ominously. Mara's mind raced. They couldn't destroy the walker, but they didn't need to. "Rena, detonate now!" Rena slammed her hand on the final command. The relay tower erupted in a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves through the area. The blast knocked the walker off balance, buying the defenders precious seconds to escape. "Fall back," Mara shouted. They fled into the night as Dominion reinforcements swarmed the area. Behind them, the destroyed tower sparked and burned, its control network severed. Back in the tunnels, the defenders celebrated their victory. It was small, but it was proof that the Dominion could be hurt. Silver hugged Mara tightly. We did it. We actually did it. Mara allowed herself a brief smile. This is just the beginning. Kerix, however, did not share their joy. His alien eyes were troubled. You do not understand what you have done, he said. The Dominion will not take this lightly. They will escalate. They will bring their full force to bear. Mara faced him without fear. Let them. The more they push, the more people will rise against them. Kerix shook his head slowly. You speak of rising, but you do not know what awaits. The Dominion has weapons you cannot imagine. They will burn your world to ashes if that is what it takes to stop you. The room went silent. Even the cheering defenders froze at his words. How long do we have? Mara asked quietly. Kerix's voice was grim. 3 days. If they cannot crush you by then, they will destroy your planet entirely. Mara's blood ran cold. She turned to her people, her face hard as stone. 3 days, she said. That's all we've got to turn this fight around. No more hiding, no more waiting. We strike first, we strike hard. The defenders roared in agreement, their fear transformed into anger and resolve. Mara stared at the map of the world, her mind already planning their next move. She knew the coming battle would decide the fate of Earth itself. Above ground, the night sky glowed with the cold light of Dominion ships. The galaxy believed humans would kneel, like every species before them. Mara Vega intended to prove them wrong. The resistance had been born. The real war was about to begin. The subway tunnels were no longer silent. They were alive with the sound of voices, the clatter of tools, and the pounding of boots. The defenders had grown. What began as a handful of fighters was now a small army of men and women ready to fight for Earth. Captain Mara Vega stood at the center of it all, watching as recruits trained with scavenged weapons. Her heart swelled with pride, but also with fear. Kerix's warning echoed in her mind. 3 days, that was all they had before the Dominion unleashed their ultimate weapon. She turned to Silva, who was checking the condition of a line of rifles. Silva's face was tired, but determined. How? Are we looking? Mara asked. Silva handed her a rifle. Half of these barely work, the other half are worse. But it's all we've got, Mara sighed. Then we make them count. Rena rushed over, her tablet clutched tightly in her hands. Captain, you need to see this. She tapped the screen, and a live feed appeared. The image showed a massive Dominion ship descending toward New York City. It was larger than anything they had seen before, shaped like a dark spear, with glowing symbols etched into its surface. What is that thing? Silva whispered. Kerix stepped forward, his alien eyes narrowing. It is a judicator, a warship of the highest order. When the Dominion sends a judicator, it means they are preparing to make an example of a planet. Mara clenched her fists. An example. They're going to destroy the city. No, Kerix said coldly. They are going to destroy your spirit. They will show the world what happens to those who resist. Rena's voice trembled. How do we stop it? Kerix looked at her with something like pity. You cannot. A judicator is shielded against every form of attack. Even my people feared them. Mara stared at the image, her mind racing. She refused to believe there was no way. Every shield has a weakness. We just have to find it. The defenders gathered around the map table. The room was lit by flickering lamps, the air thick with tension. Mara pointed to the screen showing the massive ship hovering over the city. They want to scare us into submission, she said. We are going to do the opposite. We are going to hit them where it hurts. The scarred man, now one of her trusted lieutenants, crossed his arms. Captain, with all due respect, that thing is untouchable. Even if we could get close, we don't have the firepower to scratch it. We don't need to destroy it, Mara said. We just need to delay it. Buy ourselves more time. Silva frowned. And how exactly do we do that? Rena's eyes lit up with sudden realization. The relay towers. If we overload their control network, we can disrupt the Judicator's shield. Maybe not for long, but long enough for a strike team to hit it. Mara smiled grimly. Then that's our plan. We split into 2 teams. Rena and Silver will lead. The tech team to sabotage the towers. I'll lead the strike team to board the Judicator. The scarred man shook his head. Board it? That's suicide. Only if we fail, Mara said. And we won't. As preparations began, Mara found herself alone in a quiet corner of the tunnels. She sat on a broken bench, staring at Grant's dog tags in her hand. Kirix approached silently. You carry the weight of the dead, he said. Mara didn't look at him. I carry the weight of the living. They're counting on me. You are leading them to their deaths, Kirix said bluntly. Mara's head snapped up, her eyes blazing. I'm giving them a choice. Fight or kneel. I know which one I'm willing to die for. Kirix tilted his head. You humans are strange. My people would have surrendered long ago, but you fight even when victory is impossible. That's because we don't fight for victory, Mara said. We fight for freedom. Kirix studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Very well, I will help you. There is something you need to know about the Judicator. Its core is not just a power source. It is a living mind. If you can reach it, you can disrupt the entire ship. Mara's grip tightened on the dog tags. Then we'll cut out its heart. The night before the mission, the defenders gathered for a final briefing. Maps were spread across tables. Weapons were loaded and checked. The air buzzed with fear and determination. Silver addressed the tech team. We'll hit the relay towers in 3 locations at once. Move fast, stay hidden, and don't engage unless you have to. Our job is to shut them down, not start a war. Mara faced the strike. Team, we'll infiltrate the Judicator through its underside. Kirix has given us schematics. Once we're inside, we fight our way to the core and disable it. No matter what happens, we cannot let that ship fire on the city. The scarred man raised his rifle. For Earth? The others echoed him, their voices filling the tunnels. For Earth. At dawn, the teams moved out. The tech team split into 3 groups, each heading toward a different relay tower. Silver led her group through the ruins of the city, moving from cover to cover. Dominion patrols were everywhere, their insect-like forms gleaming in the morning light. Silver signaled for her team to stop as a patrol passed. Her heart pounded. If they were caught, the entire mission would fail. Once the patrol was gone, they sprinted to the base of the first tower. Rena was already inside, her fingers flying over the alien controls. Almost there, Rena whispered. Just a few more seconds. Suddenly alarms blared. Dominion soldiers poured in from every direction. Defend her! Silver shouted. Gunfire erupted. The team held their ground, buying Rena the precious time she needed. Finally, Rena slammed, her hand on the console. The tower's systems went dark, and its glowing panels flickered out. Done! She yelled. Fall back! Silver ordered. They fled into the ruins, Dominion forces hot on their heels. Meanwhile, Mara's strike team approached the Judicator. The massive ship loomed above them like a floating mountain. Its underside was covered in alien markings that pulsed with dark energy. Kirix guided them to a narrow maintenance hatch. This is the only unshielded entry point, he said. Mara nodded. Let's move. They climbed inside, moving through dimly lit corridors that hummed with power. The air was thick and cold, carrying a faint metallic smell. The first enemy. Patrol appeared without warning. Mara fired, dropping the lead soldier. The rest of the team unleashed a storm of bullets and grenades. The fight was brutal and fast. Keep moving! Mara shouted. They pushed deeper into the ship, leaving a trail of bodies behind. Finally, they reached a massive chamber filled with pulsing cables and glowing orbs. At its center was a strange, crystalline structure that seemed to breathe. The Encore, Kirix said, but it is aware of you. It will fight back. As if on cue, the walls came alive. Strange tendrils lashed out, wrapping around one of the defenders and dragging him screaming into the darkness. "Hold your ground!" Mara yelled. The team fired wildly, cutting through the tendrils. Mara charged forward, planting explosives. At the base of the core, suddenly a deafening voice filled the chamber. It spoke in a language they couldn't understand, but its meaning was clear. Rage and hatred vibrated through every syllable. Kyrix shouted over the noise, "It knows what you are doing! Hurry!" Mara slammed the final charge into place and activated the detonator. "Everyone out!" They sprinted back through the corridors as the core began to scream, its glow turning from blue to red. Outside, Silver's team successfully disabled the final relay tower. The Judicator's shields flickered, then collapsed entirely. "Captain, you're clear!" Rena shouted over the comms. Mara's team burst out of the maintenance hatch just as the ship began to shake violently. "Detonate!" Mara ordered. Silver pressed the trigger. The explosives detonated inside the Judicator, ripping through its systems. A massive explosion tore the ship apart, sending flaming debris raining down on the city. The defenders cheered as the monstrous warship fell, but their victory was short-lived. As the smoke cleared, a new transmission appeared on every screen across Earth. The Dominion commander's face filled the screen, his expression cold and furious. "You have defied us," he said. "You have destroyed one of our sacred vessels. For this, you will suffer." Behind him, rows of chained humans were dragged into a massive chamber. "Every act of rebellion will be answered with blood," the commander continued. "Surrender now, or watch your cities burn." The transmission ended, leaving only silence. Silver turned to Mara, her face pale. "Captain, what have we done?" Mara's voice was steady, but her hands trembled. "We've given humanity a reason to fight, but now the real price begins." Kyrix stepped forward, his tone grim. "You have crossed a line from which there is no return. The Dominion will not stop. They will bring their full armada, and when they arrive, there will be no hiding, no escape." Mara looked around at her people. Their faces were filled with fear, but also with determination. "Then we make Earth ready," she said. "We will not kneel, not now, not ever." The defenders roared in agreement, their voices shaking the tunnels. Above ground, the sky darkened as more Dominion ships appeared on the horizon. The battle for Earth was only beginning. The tunnels beneath Washington were silent as dawn approached. The defenders sat in tense groups, their faces pale and haunted by the events of the last battle. Above ground, smoke still drifted from the ruins of the Judicator. The victory had been spectacular, but the price was already becoming clear. "Captain." Mara Vega stood alone near a cracked wall, staring at a rough map drawn in chalk. She traced her finger over the marked cities where Dominion forces were gathering. Her mind was sharp, but her body was trembling from exhaustion. She had not slept since the strike on the Judicator. The sound of approaching boots echoed through the tunnel. Silva appeared, her face lined with worry. "You need to rest," Silva said. Mara shook her head. "There's no time. The Dominion fleet will arrive soon. We need to plan." Silva grabbed her shoulder. "You can't keep going like this. You're no good to anyone if you collapse." Before Mara could answer, Rena burst into the room, clutching her tablet. Her eyes were wide with panic. "They're here," Rena gasped. "The Dominion Armada just came out of orbit. Dozens of ships, and they're broadcasting a message." The room went silent as every nearby screen flickered to life. The same Dominion commander who had threatened them before appeared. His insect-like features were twisted with fury. "Humans," he said in a cold, echoing voice, "you have defied the Dominion for the last time. Your defiance has destroyed one of our sacred vessels. For this, your world will burn. Any who surrender now will be spared. Those who continue to fight will be erased." Behind him, rows of chained humans were dragged into a chamber, lit by burning torches. The commander gestured to them. "Behold, the fate of rebels," he hissed. "This is the price of resistance." The feed cut to black. The room erupted into shouting. "They're going to kill them all," one fighter yelled. "We need to attack now," another shouted. Mara raised her hand, silencing them. Her voice was steady, though her heart ached. "We can't save everyone today. If we rush in blindly, we'll lose everything." Silver's eyes were wet with rage. "So we just let them slaughter our people?" Mara looked her in the eye. "We bide our time and strike when it matters most. That's how we win." Kirix, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. "You do not understand what you are facing. This armada is only a fraction of their power. If they believe Earth is beyond control, they will unleash a weapon that can burn your planet to ash." Rena's voice shook. "How do we fight something like that?" Kirix hesitated before speaking. "You cannot fight it directly, but there is a chance, a very small chance. The Dominion Armada is not unified. Some of their leaders despise each other. If you can turn them against one another, they will destroy themselves." The scarred man, now one of Mara's lieutenants, crossed his arms. "You're saying we make them fight each other while we hit them from the shadows?" Kirix nodded. "Yes, but it will require deception on a scale humans have never attempted." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Then we deceive them, whatever it takes." Hours later, the defenders gathered in the central chamber. A massive holographic map of Earth and its orbit glowed in the middle of the room. Red dots marked Dominion ships. Blue dots represented the defenders' scattered forces. "This is our situation," Mara said. "The Dominion fleet is too powerful for a direct attack. But if they start fighting each other, we might survive." Rena stepped forward. "I've been studying their communication signals. If we can plant false orders, we can make one Dominion faction believe another has betrayed them." Kirix added, "But you must be careful. If they discover your deception, they will unite against you." Silver frowned. "And how do we deliver these false orders?" Rena smiled grimly. "We sneak onto one of their command ships and upload them directly." The room went silent. Everyone knew how dangerous that would be. Mara broke the silence. "I'll lead the infiltration team. Rena, you'll come with me to handle the tech. Silver, you'll stay here and coordinate the resistance." Silver grabbed Mara's arm. "You can't go up there alone. It's suicide." "It's necessary," Mara said. "If this plan fails, Earth is finished." Night fell as the infiltration team prepared to launch. Their stolen Dominion shuttle was hidden beneath camouflage netting in the ruins of a bombed-out city. As they loaded their gear, Silver approached Mara one last time. "Promise me you'll come back," Silver said softly. Mara forced a smile. "I'll try, but if I don't, you lead them. Promise me you won't let this fight die." Silver's jaw tightened. "I promise." Mara clasped her forearm, then boarded. The shuttle, the engines roared to life, and the shuttle lifted into the night sky. The Dominion fleet was a terrifying sight. Massive warships hovered in formation, their black hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. Mara's team flew their stolen shuttle directly toward one of the command ships. Every second felt like an eternity. If their disguise failed, they would be vaporized instantly. Inside the shuttle, Rena's hands flew over the controls. Sweat dripped from her brow. "Their scanners are reading us as friendly for now, but if they do a deeper scan, we're finished. Just get us to the docking bay," Mara said. Kirix sat silently, his alien eyes fixed on the fleet outside. "I never thought I would see this from the other side," he murmured. "My people feared these ships like gods." Mara glanced at him. "Well, today we're going to bring their gods down to Earth." The shuttle entered the docking bay. Dozens of Dominion soldiers moved in perfect formation, their movements precise and mechanical. Mara and her team donned captured Dominion armor to blend in. "Stay close," Mara whispered, "and don't speak. They'll know your voice isn't right. They moved through the corridors, guided by Kirix's knowledge of Dominion layouts. The walls pulsed faintly with alien energy, and strange symbols glowed beneath their feet. Finally, they reached the command center. A massive, insect-like alien stood at the center, issuing orders in a harsh, clicking language. Rena set up her device and began uploading the false orders. The screen filled with streams of alien code. "Almost there," she whispered. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Red lights flashed. The commander turned, its eyes narrowing. "They've detected us," Kirix hissed. "Rena, finish the upload," Mara shouted. Dominion soldiers charged into the room. Mara opened fire, her rifle barking as she dropped the first wave. The scarred man and the others fought fiercely, holding the line. Rena's fingers flew across the keyboard. Just a few more seconds. A massive Dominion warrior lunged at Mara. She rolled aside, grabbed a fallen blade, and drove it into the creature's chest. "Done!" Rena screamed. "The false orders are in place." "Fall back," Mara ordered. They fled through the corridors as enemy forces swarmed behind them. The stolen shuttle was their only chance. Back on Earth, Silver monitored the fleet's signals. Suddenly, the Dominion ships began to move erratically. Two factions turned their weapons on each other, firing massive energy blasts. "It's working!" Rena's voice crackled over the comms. "They think they've been betrayed." Silver's eyes widened. "Captain, you did it," but her relief vanished as new signals appeared. "Oh no," she whispered. "They've locked onto your shuttle." Mara's team raced toward the shuttle. But Dominion fighters were closing in fast. Explosions rocked the docking bay as alien weapons fired. "Go, go, go!" Mara shouted. They dove into the shuttle and blasted off, weaving through enemy fire. Rena frantically worked the controls. "Dodging incoming missiles. We're not going to make it," the scarred man yelled. "Yes, we are," Mara growled. She grabbed the manual override and slammed the engines to maximum. The shuttle shot forward, breaking through the Dominion blockade and hurtling toward Earth. Behind them, the Dominion fleet erupted into chaos as the false orders took full effect. Massive ships fired on one another, explosions lighting up the sky. In the tunnels, the defenders erupted into cheers as they saw the battle unfolding above. Silver grabbed the comms. "Captain, come in. Do you copy?" Static crackled for a moment before Mara's voice came through, strained but alive. "We're here. Mission complete." Relief swept through the room, but Kirix remained silent, his expression grim. Silver noticed. "What is it?" Kirix turned to her. "This victory will not last. Once the Dominion realizes the truth, they will unite again. And when they do, they will bring their ultimate weapon." "What weapon?" Silver asked. Kirix's voice was cold. "A planet killer. A single strike can turn Earth into a dead rock." The room fell silent. Silver swallowed hard. "How long do we have?" 2 days, Kirix said. As the sun rose over a battered Earth, Mara stood atop the ruins of a building, watching the burning wreckage of Dominion ships falling from the sky. For a moment, she allowed herself to feel pride. Humanity had struck back. They had survived another day, but she knew the cost was coming. Silver's voice came over the radio. "Captain, we just got intel. The Dominion's planet killer is on its way." Mara closed her eyes. "Then we fight again," she said. "Whatever it takes." She looked at the horizon, where the sky was already darkening with the arrival of more ships. "This isn't over," she whispered. "It's only beginning. The war for Earth would soon reach its final, most terrible stage. The night sky over Earth was no longer dark. It glowed red with fire and smoke as Dominion ships battled each other above the atmosphere. Massive explosions lit the heavens like dying stars. Humanity watched from below, terrified and awestruck. In the underground tunnels beneath Washington, Captain Mara Vega stood over a flickering holographic map. Blue dots marked the Defenders' hidden cells across the globe. Red dots represented Dominion forces. There were far too many red dots. Silver paced beside her, fists clenched. We bought ourselves a few hours by making them fight each other. But it won't last. When they realize we tricked them, they'll come for us with everything they have. They already are, Mara said, her voice hard. And this time, they're bringing something worse. Rena worked feverishly at her console, pulling up intercepted transmissions. Kirix was right. The Dominion's planet killer is real. It's called the Oblivion Spear. It fires a beam so powerful it can rip a planet's core apart. One shot, and Earth is gone. The room went silent. Even the scarred man, who had faced death countless times, looked pale. "How long until it arrives?" Mara asked. Rena hesitated. "Less than 36 hours. Mara closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, her gaze was like steel. "Then, we stop it before it fires." Kirix stepped forward. His silver skin shimmered faintly in the low light. "Stopping it will not be easy. The Oblivion Spear is always guarded by an elite Dominion force called the Exarch Guard. They will fight to the death." Silver's jaw tightened. "Good. So will we." Kirix's alien eyes studied her calmly. "You misunderstand. The Exarch Guard are not like the soldiers you have faced. They are enhanced, both physically and mentally. Even one of them could slaughter your entire team." Mara slammed her hand on the table. "We don't have a choice. If we do nothing, everyone dies. So we hit them first. Hard." The defenders scrambled into action. Teams across the world prepared for what could be their final battle. Weapons were checked, scavenged vehicles repaired, and old military bases repurposed into strongholds. Mara walked among her fighters, speaking to each one. Some were seasoned soldiers. Others were farmers, students, and former engineers. All had chosen to fight rather than kneel. A young recruit, no older than 18, stopped her. "Captain," he said nervously, "is it true they can destroy the whole planet with one shot?" Mara looked him in the eye. "Yes, but it's also true that we're going to stop them." The boy swallowed hard and nodded. When Mara moved on, Silver approached her. "You really believe that?" she asked quietly. Mara didn't hesitate. "I have to. If I show fear, they'll lose hope." Silver placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let's make sure you're right." Deep beneath the tunnels, Rena and Kirix studied the intercepted Dominion schematics. A hologram of the Oblivion Spear hovered between them. "It's massive," Rena whispered. The weapon resembled a colossal black spear floating in space, with glowing rings spinning around its shaft. "How do we even get close to it?" Kirix pointed to a glowing section near the base. "This is its power nexus. If you disable it, the weapon cannot fire, but reaching it will be nearly impossible." Rena frowned. "Why? It's just one area." "Because it is located inside a shielded chamber guarded by the Exarch Guard," Kirix said, "and the only access point is through the core of their flagship." Rena's face paled. "So we have to board their most heavily guarded ship and fight our way through their elite warriors." "Yes," Kirix said simply. Silver overheard and cursed under her breath. "This is insane. Even if we somehow get in, we don't have the firepower to destroy that nexus." "We don't need firepower," Rena said suddenly. "We need overload." Everyone turned to her. "If we plant an energy feedback loop inside the nexus, it will cause the weapon to tear itself apart," Rena explained. "But it has to be done manually. Someone has to stay behind to trigger it." The room went silent. "I'll do it," Mara said immediately. "No!" Silver snapped. "You're the leader. If you die, this whole resistance falls apart." "Then, who?" Mara demanded. "Who else has the guts to do it?" Silver stared at her for a long moment. "We'll figure it out later. For now, we focus on getting there." The next evening, the defenders launched their boldest operation yet. A stolen Dominion freighter, rigged with cloaking technology, carried Mara's strike team into space. Rena piloted the vessel while Kirix guided them through the Dominion fleet's patrol patterns. Inside the cramped cabin, Silver checked weapons and gear. The scarred man said nothing as he sharpened a blade, his face unreadable. Mara stood at the front, staring at the stars. She felt the weight of the entire planet pressing down on her shoulders. "We have one shot at this," she told the team. "We get in, plant the device, and get out. If we fail, Earth dies. There's no backup plan." The scarred man grinned fiercely. "No pressure, huh?" The others chuckled nervously, breaking some of the tension. As they neared the Dominion flagship, the view through the cockpit window stole their breath. The Oblivion Spear hung in space like a dark god. Its massive ring spun slowly, glowing with a sickly green light. The weapon dwarfed every ship around it, a symbol of ultimate power. Rena's hands trembled on the controls. "We're flying straight into hell." "Then let's make sure the devil chokes on us," Mara said. The freighter glided silently toward the docking bay of the Dominion flagship. For a moment, it seemed the plan would work. Then the alarms sounded. "They've scanned us," Kirix hissed. "They know we don't belong." The docking bay lit up with enemy fire. Mara grabbed the comms. "Brace for impact." The freighter slammed into the deck, skidding across metal and smoke. The team staggered to their feet as Dominion soldiers swarmed toward them. "Go!" Mara shouted. The defenders charged out, guns blazing. The battle was chaos. Plasma blasts lit the air as humans and aliens clashed in brutal hand-to-hand combat. The scarred man cut down 2 Dominion warriors with his blade, his movements a blur of fury. Silver covered Rena, who worked desperately to protect the small. "Device meant to destroy the Nexus." "Keep moving," Mara yelled. "We have to reach the core." The deeper they went, the darker the corridors became. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, and the air grew heavy and hot. "This is it," Kirix said. "The Exarch Guard will be waiting." As if summoned by his words, massive figures emerged from the shadows. The Exarch Guard were unlike anything the defenders had faced. Each one stood nearly 8 feet tall, their armor black and gold, their weapons humming with deadly energy. Their movements were precise, their faces emotionless. One of them stepped forward and spoke in a deep, chilling voice. "You are insects, and insects are crushed." The guard attacked. The battle was savage. Mara's rifle blasts barely dented their armor. Silver hurled grenades, taking down one guard at the cost of nearly collapsing the corridor. The scarred man engaged a guard in a desperate melee. He was fast and vicious, but the guard was faster. With a sickening crunch, the alien drove a blade through his chest. "No!" Mara screamed. Fueled by rage, she and Silver unleashed a storm of fire, finally bringing the guard down. The scarred man coughed blood, grabbing Mara's arm. "Get it done," he rasped before going still. Mara's heart hardened. There was no time to grieve. "Move!" she ordered. They burst into the core chamber. At its center pulsed the Nexus, a swirling sphere of energy contained within alien machinery. Rena ran forward, connecting her device to the controls. "I need 5 minutes to set the feedback loop." "5 minutes we don't have," Silver muttered, aiming her rifle at the door. The remaining Exarch Guard stormed in. Mara and Silver fought like demons, holding the line as Rena worked. "Almost." "There!" Rena shouted. A blast threw Silver against the wall. She didn't get back up. "Silver!" Mara screamed. Silver coughed, blood on her lips. "Finish it!" "Captain!" Rena's device beeped. "It's ready, but someone has to stay and trigger it manually." Before Mara could answer, Kirix stepped forward. His alien eyes glowed faintly. "I will do it," he said. Mara shook her head. "No, you'll die." "I am already dead to my people," Kirix said calmly. "Let me give my life for something greater." There was no time to argue. Mara gripped his arm. "Thank you." "Go," Kirix said. "And tell your world that not all aliens serve the Dominion." Mara and Rena dragged Silver's unconscious body as they fled the chamber. Behind them, Kirix stood tall, hands on the device. Dominion warriors swarmed in, but Kirix held his ground. "For freedom," he whispered. Then he pressed the trigger. The Nexus exploded in a blinding flash. The entire flagship shook as energy surged uncontrollably through its systems. From the surface of Earth, people looked up and saw a star being born. The Oblivion spear shuddered, its glowing rings sparking wildly before shattering. A final, massive explosion ripped it apart. Cheers erupted across the planet. Humanity had stopped their destruction. Back on Earth, Mara's team crash-landed in a forest. They stumbled from the wreckage, battered but alive. Rena collapsed to her, knees sobbing. He stayed behind so we could live. Mara stared at the burning sky. And now we make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Silver, bruised and limping, managed a weak smile. The Dominion won't take this lightly. They'll come with everything they've got. Let them come, Mara said fiercely. We've shown them humans don't just fight. We rewrite the rules. She looked toward the horizon, where new enemy. Ships were already forming in the distance. The final battle is coming, she whispered, and we'll be ready. The defenders had won a battle. Now they faced a war for the very soul of Earth. The ruins of New York still burned when Mara Vega climbed to the top of a shattered skyscraper. Smoke rose in black pillars around her, and the air stank of ash and blood. She stood silent, watching Dominion ships retreat into the sky. They had lost the Oblivion spear, but they were far from defeated. Even now, more Dominion fleets gathered. Beyond the edge of the solar system, Silver limped up beside her, bandages wrapped around her ribs. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with fire. The people are celebrating, she said. They think the war is almost over. Mara's jaw tightened. It's not over. The Dominion will never stop unless we strike at their heart. Silver gave her a sharp look. You mean their capital world? Yes, Mara said. If we destroy their central command, their fleets will fall into chaos. It's the only way to win. Silver shook her head. We barely survived taking out one weapon. Now you want to fight an entire empire on their home turf. We have no choice, Mara said firmly. Every day we wait, they rebuild. Next time they will bring more weapons, more soldiers, and they will not underestimate us again. Rena rushed into the room, her hands covered in grease and burns from repairing their stolen alien equipment. I cracked part of their network, she said breathlessly. I know where their command hub is. It's a massive structure called the Throne Core. It controls every Dominion ship and soldier across the galaxy. Silver frowned. If we destroy it, their entire war machine collapses. Exactly, Rena said, but there's a problem. The Throne Core has defenses we've never seen before. Nothing we have can break through its shields. Mara stared at the glowing hologram of the alien structure. It looked like a spiked crown floating in space, pulsing with green light. Then we don't break through, she said slowly. We take control. Silver blinked. You want to hijack their entire fleet? Yes, Mara said. We hack into the Throne Core and force every Dominion ship to destroy itself. It's the only way to end this war once and for all. Rena's face went pale. That would take more processing power than we have. Even if I built a device to interface with their system, someone would have to manually connect it inside the Throne Core. It would be suicide. Mara's voice was cold and steady. Then I'll do it. The next day, Mara stood before a crowd of defenders in a hidden underground hangar. Hundreds of faces stared back at her, scarred and tired, but filled with determination. The Dominion thinks we are broken, she shouted. They think humans are too chaotic to fight as one. Today we prove them wrong. We strike at their very heart. We fight not just for Earth, but for every free being in this galaxy. The fighters roared in approval. Among them were alien allies who had secretly joined their cause after witnessing humanity's defiance. Their numbers were small, but their presence sent a powerful message. The Dominion's grip was slipping. Silver, stepped forward to address the troops. This is a one-way mission. If we fail, Earth will burn. If we succeed, we rewrite the galaxy. Later, in the command chamber, Mara and Rena finalized their plan. A stolen Dominion warship would carry them deep into enemy territory. While the defenders fought to hold off Dominion reinforcements, Mara and a small strike team would infiltrate the throne core. Rena handed Mara a small device, no larger than a human heart. Its surface glowed faintly. "This is the override key," she explained. "Once you plug it into the main control node, it will send a virus through their network. But you'll have to stay connected until the upload finishes. If you disconnect early, the virus fails." Mara understood the unspoken truth. "If I stay connected, I won't be able to escape." Rena's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry. There's no other way." Mara placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've given us a chance. That's more than anyone else has ever done." Silver stormed into the room, her face red with anger. "I won't let you do this alone," she snapped. "If you die, who will lead us?" Mara turned to her, her voice soft but unyielding. "If I don't go, no one lives. You're the only one I trust to lead after me. Promise me you'll protect them." Silver's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "I promise. But you'd better come back." The journey to the Dominion capital was filled with danger. Dominion patrols nearly caught them twice. In one harrowing moment, they had to hide their warship inside the shadow of a dead moon while enemy scanners swept past. As they neared the throne core, the crew fell silent. The alien structure loomed ahead, massive and terrifying. It glowed like a living creature, its spires crackling with energy. Thousands of Dominion ships swirled around it like an endless swarm of wasps. "By all the stars," Rena whispered. "It's bigger than I imagined." Mara stared at it with cold resolve. "Size doesn't matter, vulnerability does, and everything has a weakness." Their allies launched a diversionary assault, drawing many of the Dominion ships away from the core. Mara's strike team slipped through the chaos and landed on one of the throne core's outer platforms. The moment they stepped off the ship, they were attacked. The Exarch Guard were waiting, their black and gold armor gleaming. These were not the same soldiers Mara had faced before. They moved faster, hit harder, and seemed utterly fearless. The defenders fought with everything they had. Plasma fire lit the dark corridors as humans and aliens clashed in brutal combat. Silver gunned down 2 Exarch warriors, but was forced to her knees by a third. Mara saved her with a precise headshot, then dragged her back to her feet. "Stay alive," Mara growled. They pushed deeper into the throne core, following Rena's guidance through the maze-like interior. Strange alien symbols glowed on the walls, and the hum of the central network grew louder with every step. Finally, they reached the heart of the structure. The control chamber was a vast circular room filled with floating platforms and glowing conduits. At its center pulsed the main control node, a sphere of energy surrounded by streams of alien code. Rena's eyes widened. "That's it. Plug the key into that interface." Mara sprinted forward, dodging blasts as Silver and the others provided cover fire. She reached the node and slammed the override key into place. The chamber shook as alarms blared. Dominion symbols flashed across the walls. "They know what we're doing," Rena shouted. "Upload is starting, but it will take 5 minutes." 5 minutes felt like an eternity. Waves of Exarch guards stormed into the chamber. Silver fought like a whirlwind, taking down enemies with deadly precision. But there were too many. For every warrior that fell, 2 more appeared. Rena screamed over the noise. "The virus is halfway uploaded." Mara gritted her teeth and stayed connected to the node. Pain lanced through her body as the alien system tried to fight her intrusion. It felt like her very mind was burning. "You can do this, Captain!" Silver shouted. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed through the chamber. "You thought you could rewrite the galaxy, human?" it said. A towering figure stepped into view. It was Kirix, but his silver skin now bore black markings, and his once calm eyes glowed with malice. Mara's heart stopped. "You betrayed us." Kyrix smiled cruelly. "I was never your ally. I was the Dominion's instrument from the start. Every victory you thought was yours, every secret I gave you, was all part of the plan. You have done exactly what we wanted." Silva roared with rage and fired at him, but Kyrix moved impossibly fast, deflecting her shots with a blade of pure energy. "Why?" Mara demanded. "Because humans are dangerous," Kyrix said. "You are chaos incarnate. The Dominion feared you, yes, but they also saw your potential. By letting you rise, we drew every rebellious species out of hiding. When we crush you here, the galaxy will see that resistance is futile." Mara's fury burned like a star. "You underestimated us. Again." The final battle was savage. Silva and the Defenders fought desperately against Kyrix and the remaining Exarch Guard. Kyrix moved like a storm, cutting down fighters with terrifying speed. Silva engaged him directly, buying Mara precious seconds to complete the upload. Rena screamed, "It's almost done. 10 more seconds." Kyrix struck Silva down with a vicious blow. Mara screamed in rage and tore herself free of the node, charging him. The two clashed in a brutal fight. Kyrix was stronger, but Mara fought with the fury of every human soul on Earth. As he raised his blade for the final strike, Rena shouted, "Upload complete!" Mara grabbed the override key and slammed it into Kyrix's chest. His body convulsed as the virus surged through him, then into the throne core itself. "No!" Kyrix screamed as his form dissolved into light. Outside, the Dominion fleet went wild. Ships turned on each other, their systems corrupted by the virus. Massive explosions lit the sky as entire armadas self-destructed. Across the galaxy, Dominion forces collapsed into chaos. Inside the control chamber, alarms blared as the throne core began to implode. Rena grabbed Mara's arm. "We have to go now." Mara looked at the destruction around her, then at Silva's still form. Tears streamed down her face. "Go! I'll hold the connection stable so you can escape." "No," Rena sobbed. "We'll all die together." Mara shoved her toward the exit. "That's an order." Rena and the surviving defenders fled, dragging Silva's body. Mara turned back to the node. She placed her hands on it, steadying the collapsing system. Her final words were a whisper. "No one rules humans, not even you." The chamber exploded in a blinding flash. Rena's ship rocketed away as the throne core erupted behind them. The shockwave tore through space, destroying the remaining Dominion ships. Inside the ship, Rena wept silently. "She did it," she whispered. "She actually did it." Silva stirred weakly, her voice hoarse. "Mara won the war." "No," Rena said, staring at the burning wreckage in the distance. "Mara rewrote the galaxy." On Earth, the skies were finally clear. The Dominion was gone, its reign shattered forever. But Mara Vega did not return. Her sacrifice became legend. Across the galaxy, species once enslaved by the Dominion rose up, inspired by humanity's defiance. And far away, in the cold darkness of space, something even older and more dangerous watched and waited. The war was over. But the story of humanity was only beginning. The galaxy was silent for the first time in thousands of years. No Dominion fleets patrolled the stars. No alien governors barked orders to enslaved worlds. The endless war machine that had crushed countless civilizations was gone. But silence was not peace. It was the deep breath before a scream. On Earth, people filled the streets cheering and crying as they celebrated victory. They shouted Mara Vega's name like a prayer. Children painted her face on walls, and songs were sung about the woman who had dared to fight the galaxy itself. Yet inside the Defenders' hidden base, beneath the ruins of Washington, the mood was grim. Rena sat alone in the command chamber, staring at the holographic star map. Entire sectors of space glowed red. Those were the worlds left in chaos after the fall of the Dominion. With no central rule, they had splintered into warring factions. Some planets were begging for help, others were already fighting each other for power. Silva entered slowly, her left arm still bound in a sling. She moved with a limp, a constant reminder of the final battle. Her face was pale, her eyes haunted. "They're calling Mara the savior of humanity," Silva said softly. "And they're calling us heroes." Rena's voice cracked. She should be here to hear it. Silva placed a trembling hand on Rena's shoulder. She knew what she was doing. She gave her life so we could have this chance. Rena turned, tears glistening in her eyes. "But what if it was for nothing? Look at this map, Silva. Half the galaxy is burning. The other half is waiting for someone to seize control. We destroyed the Dominion, but we left a power vacuum. Someone else will try to fill it." Silva's jaw tightened. "Then we make sure it's not another tyrant." A distant alarm blared through the base. Rena jumped to her feet. "Incoming. Transmission. It's not from Earth. It's alien." The hologram flickered, revealing a ragged alien figure. Its skin was a pale blue, its eyes wide with terror. "This is the free world of Kyle," the alien gasped. "Our cities are under attack. A warlord has risen, claiming to be the rightful heir to the Dominion. They are enslaving my people again. Please, humanity, you must help us." The transmission cut out in static. Silva's hands curled into fists. "It's already starting." Rena looked at her with fear. "We can barely rebuild Earth. How can we fight across the galaxy?" Silva's voice was hard as steel. "We don't fight alone. Mara showed every species in the galaxy that humans will never kneel. Some of them will join us if we give them hope." She turned to the room full of defenders. "We are not just defending Earth anymore. We are building a new order." In the following weeks, messages poured in from dozens of alien worlds. Some begged for help, others offered support, and a few threatened humanity, warning that if humans became too powerful, they would destroy Earth before another empire could rise. Silva called a meeting of all surviving defenders and their alien allies. The Great Hall was packed with species from across the galaxy, their languages translated by crude devices Rena had cobbled together. Silva stood at the center, her voice ringing with determination. "The Dominion ruled through fear and chains. We will rule through choice and freedom. No single species will dominate, not even humans." An alien leader with emerald skin hissed, "And who decides the rules? You?" "No," Silva said firmly. "All of us. Together." She activated a hologram showing a great circle of stars. "We will form a galactic council. Each free world will have a voice. No single fleet will control the others. No one will ever have the power to enslave the galaxy again." The hall erupted in debate. Some aliens shouted in agreement, others argued that it was impossible. Finally, Rena stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but passionate. Mara Vega believed in chaos. She believed that humans were unpredictable and wild, and that made us dangerous, but she also believed it made us free. This council isn't about control, it's about trust. If we don't try, we will become the very thing we destroyed. The room fell silent. Slowly, one alien after another agreed to the proposal. The Galactic Council was born that day, though its future was uncertain. As the new order began to take shape, Silva struggled with her own doubts. Late one night, she walked alone through the base, past rows of names carved into the stone walls. These were the fallen heroes of the war. Mara's name was at the top. Silva touched it gently, whispering, "I don't know if I can do this, Mara. You were the leader, not me. I'm just trying to hold everything together." Behind her, Rena's voice broke the silence. "Mara chose you for a reason. She believed you could lead, even when you don't believe in yourself." Silva turned, her eyes wet. "What if I fail?" Rena gave a sad smile. Then we get back up and try again. That's what humans do. Meanwhile, far beyond the edge of known space, something ancient stirred. In a region of black void untouched by light, massive shapes moved. They were not Dominion ships. They were older, darker, and more terrifying. A single voice echoed through the darkness, cold and calculating. The Dominion has fallen. The humans have shown their strength. It is time for the true masters of the galaxy to rise again. The darkness shifted, revealing a colossal creature fused with machinery. Its eyes burned with hatred. Send the scouts, watch the humans. When they are ready to rebuild, we will strike. This time, there will be no resistance. Back on Earth, the Galactic Council met for the first time. Representatives from dozens of species sat around a vast, circular chamber built inside the ruins of the old United Nations building. Flags of every free world hung from the walls. Silva stood at the central podium. "We are here to decide the future," she said. "But know this, humans do not obey rules. We rewrite them. And if anyone here tries to enslave others again, we will stand against them no matter the cost." Her words rippled through the chamber like a storm. Some leaders looked inspired, others looked afraid. A tall alien with silver horns rose. "Your species is dangerous. How can we trust you not to become tyrants yourselves?" Silva met his gaze without flinching. "Because we know what tyranny looks like. We bled to destroy it. And because Mara Vega's last order to us was this: never let one voice rule all. Others." The hall erupted in cheers. Even those who feared humanity could not deny the power of her words. As the council debated laws and alliances, Rena worked tirelessly to stabilize the galaxy's communication networks. She intercepted strange transmissions, encrypted signals that did not match any known species. One night, she called Silva into her lab. "You need to see this." A distorted image appeared on the screen. It showed a shadowy figure surrounded by burning stars. The voice that followed was deep and cold. "They think the galaxy is free. They are wrong. The true war is coming." The transmission ended abruptly. Silva's blood ran cold. "Do you know who sent that?" Rena shook her head. "No, but it came from beyond the mapped sectors. Whoever they are, they're watching us." Silva stared at the dark screen. "Then we have to be ready. Mara's war may be over, but ours is just beginning." Weeks passed. The Council's influence spread, bringing stability to worlds once ruled by fear. Trade routes reopened, refugees returned home, yet shadows lingered. Rumors of a hidden enemy grew stronger. Some worlds whispered of a coming storm. Silva trained the defenders to act as the Council's peacekeepers, a force not tied to any single planet. They wore no national symbols, only a single emblem, a star breaking free from chains. Rena oversaw the construction of new ships using technology salvaged from the Dominion. These vessels were faster and stronger than anything humanity had ever built before. For the first time, humanity was not merely surviving. They were shaping the future. On the anniversary of the Dominion's fall, a great ceremony was held on Earth. Aliens and humans gathered beneath the rebuilt skyline of New York. At the center of the square stood a towering statue of Mara Vega, her face calm and defiant, one hand raised as if leading the charge. Silva stepped forward to speak. Mara Vega was more than a soldier. She was a symbol of hope. She showed us that even when the galaxy is against you, one voice can make a difference. Today, we honor her by building a galaxy where no one will ever be silenced again. The crowd erupted in cheers. Rena wiped tears from her eyes. She would have hated this ceremony, she whispered to Silva. Silva laughed softly. Yes, she would have told us to stop talking and start fighting. They shared a bittersweet smile. As night fell, Silva stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city. Rena joined her quietly. The Council is working, worlds are uniting. For the first time in history, there's hope." Silver nodded, but did not smile. Hope is fragile. And, "I can feel it, Rena. Something is coming. Something worse than the Dominion." Rena shivered. "You think the message we intercepted was real?" "I know it was," Silver said. "And when they come, we'll need to be stronger than ever." Turned to face the horizon, where the stars burned bright and cold. "Mara taught us to rewrite the rules," Silver said softly. "Now we have to rewrite the galaxy itself." Far beyond Earth, in the dark void, the shadowy enemy gathered their fleets. Their massive ships were shaped like claws and fangs, built for only one purpose: destruction. A voice echoed across their ranks. "The humans believe they have won. They do not understand that their victory has awakened us. When we strike, there will be no chaos, no rebellion, no hope." The fleet began to move, countless warships rising from the darkness like a tidal wave. "The age of freedom is over," the voice declared. "The galaxy will kneel before its true masters." Back on Earth, Silver stood before the Galactic Council, unaware of the storm approaching. "We will face new enemies," she said. "We will face new challenges, but we are ready. Because humanity does not obey rules, humanity rewrites them." The chamber erupted in thunderous applause. As the cheers echoed through the halls, faraway stars flickered ominously, as if warning of the darkness to come. The galaxy had been rewritten, but the next chapter was only beginning.